Let's just get straight into this video, and I want to welcome you to Just Chat with the Twist, where we're here just to chat and talk about any and everything in life and the universe or whatever you want to talk about. We are here to talk about it. And I also want to introduce myself, the host, Just Dev, or you can call me Dev. You know, it's in the name. And I just want to also thank you for everybody tuning in today to my first ever episode of Just Chat. Yes, it is. And I also do other videos on my YouTube channel. And if you are watching on my YouTube channel, thank you for just supporting me again. I know I'm like repeating myself, but I'm here just to say thank you for tuning in. And if you are listening to me on Anchor and listen to this lovely voice, thank you for just being my first ever supporter on Anchor and tuning in, because today we are going to talk about any and everything. As you can see, the title of this video is Life. I have my bottled water here today so that just in case I get dry mouth or cotton mouth or whatever you want to call it, I can just get rid of that instantly with water. I don't know if I'm supposed to show I don't care, but let me drink. But I just want to say thank you for tuning in. And as you can see, the title of this video, we're just talking about life. And I feel like we as people don't get enough time to talk about life with friends, family, or what we are tongue-tied, what we are actually going through in life. Because I feel like we are too busy worried about somebody judging us, or just worried about keeping other people away from our business. You know, when I'm saying business, you know how our parents used to say, when we go in this grocery store, don't tell everybody what we're doing, because you know you can see family, you know you can see friends, but you just never was supposed to tell anybody. Or the good saying of what's happened in Vegas stays in Vegas, or what happens in the household stays in this household. You don't talk about your business outside of the household, because it's, I guess, for me, I look at it as a respect thing. And a lot of us don't want to like disrespect our family or having everybody just talk about our business. But here today, when you're listening to Just Chat podcast, just relax and understand that we can talk about any and everything. I know in the future, I am going to actually put like a email up for you guys to send questions and send stories in that we can talk about as a unit. And I also want to say is I'm not going to be the only host on here. I will be having me some lovely co-hosts, maybe family, maybe friends, maybe strangers, and we can all just talk. I feel like as people, we need an outlet to come to just talk. And a lot of people, when I tell people when I was doing my YouTube thing, and I still am, and because I do my YouTube shorts, and I am looking to continue to do other vlogs on YouTube. But when I tell people the reason why I started YouTube was only because I felt like there are people out there that can actually learn from my story and understand that they aren't the only people that's going through it. And I just want to say life is tough. Life is so tough, especially as being a gay man. Life is tough, and nobody understands that. Only the gays do. Even the lesbians, no, the whole LGBT community knows how it is to live our lifestyle. And I'm not going to say like we are the only ones that have the worst life, but everybody does. And I feel like everybody goes through their mental health in life, and they are just fighting demons and going through it. Like for me, a whole year I spent being homeless was the roughest thing I could ever deal with. And the reason why I say that is because during that time when I'm going through something, a lot of my family, I feel like that a lot of my family members wasn't there for me. Some would say they were, some would say they weren't. I don't know. But I feel like for me, nobody was there for me. Now, I'm not talking about my parents, but I'm talking about my circle that I had around me at that time. And around that time, I was learning how to set boundaries in life, because I was the type of person, I don't have boundaries. I'm going to admit it, but I'm also the type of person that also jumps the gun, and I'm always talking before somebody else. Even still now to this day, I battle with that, because if I feel like I can relate or talk about it, I want to talk. And I love to talk. Like, Some people say when they meet me, you're so quiet. No, I'm not quiet. I'm just me. Like, I'm not the type of person always here to interrupt somebody, because I don't purposely do it, but I do it. But I'm not that kind of person. And then I'm also quiet because I'm sitting back and just watching and learning the different things in life, or how other people look at things, believe it or not. But I do that. And what's crazy, y'all, I'm really nervous talking about this, and I shouldn't be nervous because I'm always talking. Like, when I'm at work, yes, I still work a 9 to 5, but when I'm at work, I'm talking to my coworkers like we knew each other for a long time, which currently at the job I am at, I have known a lot of these people for a long time. And during the time that I was at my job, when I was first at the job, I didn't work with these people because I worked at nighttime, but I heard of these people. And now I have a whole different perspective of everybody and who they are as people, because everybody changed. Everybody does change. And you get to look at a different aspect to people, especially when you learn about what they're going through and in their life. Like, a lot of people don't realize we all live a different life. We don't live the same life. We're not from the same place. We're not cut from the same cloth. We are all different. So our lifestyles and everything will actually completely look different. So I feel like people should talk about their life, including me, and I should tell like stories so that people can get to know me and everything. But sometimes it's just hard because you never know what you are going to get out of a person, because you don't know if that person's going to take what you tell them and use it against you, or you don't know if that person's going to run and tell the next person. You don't know. So that's where, for me, I know that I become defensive and very much like combative with people, because I feel like people know what they're doing. People know what they're doing and they don't acknowledge it. And I'm just like, just acknowledge it so that we can move on. And I don't feel no kind of way, because as long as we sit and still not acknowledge the fact that you did what you did, I'm not going to move on from it. And that's just me as a person. It's either I am going to move on from it, or I'm just not going to fuck with you. Then that's just period, point blank. I'm not sugarcoating it. And I feel like because nobody sugarcoats it for me, I shouldn't sugarcoat it for nobody else. And like I said, life is hard. And life been hard for me for the past year. Like I said, being homeless, finally coming out to my family at the age of 26, and all kinds of shit was happening to me. Like, it was crazy. Like, I got my first apartment. Then I had to figure out where I was going to stay. Then it took me forever to get an apartment, only because of choices that I made, bad choices that I made in life. And I learned from those choices. I used to think that I'm going to pay half of this, I'm going to pay half of that. No, my dad always told me, son, you can't pay half of this, or you can't pay half of your car note, or you can't pay half of this. They gonna take your car, they gonna turn your lights up. Now I know I lost my car, got another car, thank God. The car gives me problems, but that's a part of life. That's the title of this video. That car, well, it's not a car, it's a truck. Let me be exact. It's a 2006 Dodge Durango. And that truck, Lord knows that truck gives me a hard time. But I love it to death. It gets me to point A to point B. It has helped me a lot. What else that I can say? Like I said, I most recently felt like, well, I didn't felt like, but I most recently came out because of a new situation in my life. And I felt like for a long period of time that I didn't have to tell my family that I was gay, or, oh, I like to deal with men. No, I didn't feel like I had to tell nobody, because I already knew that my family knew. So I wasn't about to be delusional with them. I'm just going to live my life. Like, I was going out with my best friend and doing my thing and living life. And I just felt like for me, I didn't have to share that with people or my family because 1, y'all know. 2, I don't care no more. 3, we are all grown. There's no reason why we should be surprised or shocked. This is 2023. And at the time it was 2021. And it was rough. It was just rough. Like, during that time, the reason why it was rough, let me put it like this. The reason why it was rough in my head, I felt like I did not want my parents or my family to actually sit here and make it about them. And what I thought was going to happen did happen. Not with everybody. I'm not going to say it happened with everybody. I think some people in my family just felt the kind of way because they never seen me in like a in-person relationship. How can you say it wasn't a long distance relationship? Because I did that before. But it's an in-person relationship. So I felt like people was just like, oh, you're dealing with this. I don't know. It's just hard to explain. But what I thought that was going to happen, y'all, if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm actually over here trying to put me some Vaseline on these lips to make sure that, I keep them moist and luxurious, luxury. But anyways, I just felt like I didn't want to deal with it. I just didn't want to deal with it. And if I could have, I would have went my entire life not saying nothing to my family. Like, 9 times I would say in a percentage, I would say like 60% of me would have never told nobody. 40 would have said something because I was already telling my family, like cousins and my sister. I was going to work to my brothers, but brothers and sisters are different. So you never know what you're going to get. But for me, if it would have never came out the way it came out, I would have never told anybody. Being honest with myself, being honest with y'all, I would have never told anybody. So dealing with that by itself, it was hard because I always used to talk to my favorite cousin on the phone and I'd be like, I don't know which one I don't know which parent I'm gonna tell. I just don't know because I feel like my mom gonna freak out and my dad over here on the other hand is gonna just act crazy. I probably pronounced this wrong, but when I think about it now, today, my family, my mom and dad took it better than everybody else. They were like, well, my dad was he was a little funny about it. But then now he loves me to death. We are closer than ever. And I feel like I should have been told him this. Maybe I wouldn't feel the way I feel about him growing up because Lord knows I am not dealing with that man crazy attitude. Because me and my dad, my entire adult life, because once I turned 18, I felt like I didn't care about what nobody said. This is my life. I'm gonna do what I want to do. I ain't in school no more. I done graduated. I'm just gonna live my life. And a lot of people felt like I'm not gonna say a lot of people because it wasn't a lot of people. I'm gonna say a lot of people in my family are control freaks. And when I say control freak, I mean some of them feel like they can say what they want. Some of them feel like you gotta listen to what they say. And then some of them are just delusional, period. And it took me a minute to figure that out. But I know now a lot of them was delusional, thinking that I was going to live my life that way because I'm a very quiet, laid back, chill type of person. I love to help people out. And I feel like that's what God sent me here to do, to help people out so that they can have a better life. And I'm not thinking that I should be helping myself out in the long run because I'm going through something just like everybody else is going through something. And I should have realized that. And if I was to realize that when I was 18 and just told my parents, look, your little boy, is a fruitcake, just like my grandma. It took me a long time to figure out. Rest in peace, Zenora. I love you to death. But it took me a long time to figure out. My grandma used to say, my little fruitcake. I'm like, why is this woman calling me a fruitcake? Like every time I'm going to work, I love you. You my favorite little fruitcake. I'm like, okay. I didn't get it. Then when I started to get it, and I'm like, I'm her favorite fruitcake. Because my sister is gay. And then I have family also. My cousin, she's bi. But I didn't think about it. I did not think about it. And then when I got older, I'm like, my grandma knew this entire time I was gay. And she didn't judge me. She still loved me as a person. And I feel like that's all I miss in life, because when I was with my grandma, it felt like she wasn't just my grandma. That was my best friend. That was my soul. That was my heart and love. I loved her to death. She would do anything for me. And we used to get in the craziest fights. And I'm not talking about, oh, I'm fighting my grandma. No. I'm talking about arguing. Like one time, my grandma had to take me to school and she used to get mad. And I forgot my chef coat, y'all. I was in culinary arts. And when I realized that we was already by the bus stop, and mind you, my bus stop was over in another city because I was going to school in another area. Long, I'm not even gonna get into that. But by the time we got to where we was going, I was like, ooh, grandma, I left my shift coat. My grandma got so mad. She sat up in that chair and she bust that U-turn and she stepped on that gas the entire way. My grandma didn't say nothing to me. And then there was times where I wasn't at the time the best cleaner upper. I didn't have no kind of OCD. I didn't do no cleaning up. I was a little messy. But my grandma would get on me about that and go tell my mom, and I'm not talking to her, and she'll go tell my mom, well, he haven't talked to me. And then I get a phone call. Why you not talking to your grandma? Oh God, it was just so much. But bring it all back. She was kind of the first person that acknowledged it and never judged me. And I should have realized then. My grandma knows. Why shouldn't nobody else knows? And I feel like for me, if I would have told my mom and dad, one, they would have never act the way they act when they found out. Two, my relationship with my dad would be way better. And three, my relationship with my mom would also be better, because I lied to them, and I'm going to call it out for what it is. I lied to them about who I am as a person. And I also lied to myself, which made life, which the title of this podcast, I know I keep saying it, but which made life very much difficult for me. So I figured out I'm over here feeling like I'm not lying to people, but when I'm really lying to myself, and I'm still lying to people because I'm not telling people who I am as a person. And that blocked a lot of my blessings in life. And I understood that, especially when I was homeless. That year felt like 2 years, and it was the most terriblest thing I went through. From living in hotels, staying with my mom, my cousins, it was a lot to deal with, and a lot of people don't know that, and it was just rough. It was like rough for me being homeless, and I didn't know how to exactly handle it. It was not no guide to being homeless. It wasn't say, okay, being homeless, go to your first resources of unemployment, or going to, let's be correct, I wasn't unemployed. I was homeless and I had a job. I was going to my sister, not my sister's house. Might as well say you like my sister. I was going to my cousin's house working. I was really mainly working at my cousin's house. I was working at my mom's house. If I had to work in a hotel, I would have worked in a hotel. And eventually, once that job didn't work, I went back to my old job, which was, I'm telling y'all, God was telling me to go back there. It was a reason why God told me to go back there, because as soon as I went back to my old job, it was like life just started coming to me. Like, I started getting my mojo back to want to do YouTube. I also wanted to do my own podcast. Like, I had family members say, oh, I want to do a podcast. I ain't saying I'm copying off them, but it came to me like, that's me right there. That is me. I know that I can do that because I like to run my mouth, like I said in the beginning. I have always been like that. And I feel like, y'all know I should use my little soundboard over here that I got, because I could have just said my gunshots when I did that. I could just pop, 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 pop. I could have done that, but I didn't. But let me stop. But when I went back, it was like everything started to happen for me. I was back outside, y'all. I was stuck in the house for years. For 2 years, I was stuck in the house. I wasn't going outside, working from home. It's not meant for a lot of people. For me, I need to be outside. I need to be outside with the people. I need to be outside with the sunlight. I know a little COVID going around and everybody feel how they feel about COVID. And I'm not even going to get on that subject. I'm not going down that rabbit hole, because the moment I go down that rabbit hole, you get lost, because there's so much going on with that. Zip it. But really and truly, when I got my job back, and it wasn't like I got fired. I quit for my own reasons, because you learn, you live and you learn, and they lived and they learned. But now that I'm back, I'm happy. I'm back at doing my YouTube thing, and I'm not back at doing vlogs necessarily, but I am back at doing YouTube shorts. And I was kind of doing that when I was living with my mom, but now I really am doing it. You can also check out my new series, which is just makeovers. I know y'all probably like, damn, what's up with this jest? What's jest? I know, because now I went from Life with Dev, now we are just Dev. Let's get it clear, because I used to hate when people, a little spit in my mouth. I used to hate when people say, Life with Dev. Bitch, that is not for you to say. And excuse me if you are an elderly person in my life or parent in my life. I wasn't calling you the bitch, but I was just saying in a way to express myself. This is the reason why I named it Life with Dev, is because people can look at my life and say, oh, I've been through that. Oh, he funny. This. It's funny that he going through that because I lived through that. And look at him. He's smiling and still keep going. Right. That's what it was about. It was about me, because during that time when I first started, because I told another person that, oh, I want to do YouTube, and never did it, and finally did it because I felt like it was a way for me to escape, because I had made videos called A Letter to Myself, and those videos was for me to go back and watch. Now, other people could have watched those videos and said, damn, I'm going through that, or wow, he's very much talking to himself in the future, just letting him know, hey, you got this, you've been going through this, or look at you now, you done passed that part of your life. But I can say I am gonna still continue to do that, and I'm thinking about doing another letter to myself, because I have two. I recently took one down. I'm probably gonna open it back up and let everybody see that again, but I'm thinking about doing another letter to myself, because those was therapy moments, and the best thing ever for me is to have therapy moments, because when I was in therapy, and I'm gonna tell anybody and everybody, black, white, green, blue, yellow, Indian, Mexican, Latin, I don't care. Therapy is much needed. I used to grow up in the house with a black man that say, therapy is for white people. Sir, it's not. And therapy is good. It helped me express myself, control my anger issues. Now, I'm a little back off because I haven't been to therapy myself, but I'm planning to go back. But therapy is something that everybody needs. I may not be talking about mental health, but mental health is real, people, and that's a part of life. And we all need to get in control of it. Just because you all high and mighty and you may got everything and you got the money does not mean you're not going through something. Married, dating, anything, friendships, family, we all need a little therapy in our life because we all have been going through something. And I felt like for me, getting therapy, doing a letter to myself, doing anything, write it down, send a letter, talk about it. Don't keep talking to your best friends. Don't keep talking to cousins. Don't keep talking to sisters and brothers-in-laws about what's going on, because that does not help. If you do not do the work, it does not help. And I know that for myself. I know that people still tell me to this day, well, Devin, you know what you got to do. You know what's right. You know what's wrong. And I know that. But I have to be the one that do the work. Not Billy Bob Jean, not Christina, not nobody in the world can do that work but you, yourself, and that's it. Nobody can say that. What's the saying? You could take the horse to the water, but you can't make it drink. And that's a true saying, and I always say that. I'm so old talking about you can't take the horse to the water. Like, I'm gonna pause that, because that's what really needs to be said and people need to do. Like, I feel like we do not acknowledge the fact that we know the right thing to do. We just don't do it because we want to do it our way. Now, I'm a Taurus. I'm a little stubborn. This is not an excuse, because just because I'm a Taurus don't mean I can't change, because there's people out here making changes. Like today, I'm making a change by posting this video that I have been putting off for freaking weeks, because I had this whole setup already. But God has blessed me with lovely people in my life, a lovely partner, great parents, great friends, reuniting me with people that I fell out with. Now, I'm not gonna say that we the best of friends, but I will say I see you, you see me, and that's how we're gonna leave it. I root for everybody. I want nothing but the goodness, because like I said, life is hard. And I wouldn't want nobody to wish harmful things on me. And I don't want to wish harmful things on them. I have not going to be like I'm just this perfect person, because I have said some crazy things. Like, I'm working on myself. Like, I tell people, I have a bad habit of telling people to go jump, or I'm not going to finish the statement, but to go get hit by a freight train. But in that aspect, and that's kind of like suicide. And I have had my own thoughts of suicide, because at some point in life I felt like I can't do this no more. I just can't. But I overcame that, and I just want everybody else to be able to do what I have done. Overcome the hills, the ups and downs, the hard places in life, and just understand that you aren't the only person that's going through this. And if you need somebody to talk to, call a friend, talk to your mom and dad. And if you can't talk to them, talk to your aunt, talk to your teacher, talk to your coworker, talk. Because as long as you hold it in, you're going to hurt. And as long as you don't acknowledge it, you're going to hurt. And eventually you're going to become numb to that pain. And I have been a type of person where I got into a point in my life where I was numb to pain. Like, I didn't care. I did it. And now where I'm at in life, I'm not beefing with nobody. I don't got time. If I blocked you, I unblocked you. And if I'm saying I unblocked you, I changed my number too. But my number, I'm not even gonna get on that subject, because that's a whole nother story. But if we have communicated in this past year, and you can count back a year, but if we have communicated in a year, I don't got time for that. That's what we went through is behind us. I would never forget. Let's be clear. We all never forget. But what we can do is build new boundaries, not walls, because let's be clear, walls and boundaries are different. When you have a wall up, you're blocking people from getting to know you, and you protecting yourself in a way. But if you set boundaries up, people can't cross those boundaries, because you have a boundary. If you cut them off, then they can't say nothing to you, because you already told them in the beginning, this is what's happening. If you don't like it, as my favorite person on YouTube say, Zoe, the door. You can go. The door is always going to be open for you. And that's just how life has to be. We have to learn to set boundaries. If we need therapy, go see a therapist. If you're homeless, use your resources. Talk. Life can be easy if we treat it easy. I know right now in this day and age where the government has skyrocketed everything up, but we can still make it. We have to learn to stick together. And I feel like we have had plenty of examples of how to stick together. From friends, family. I have watched. This is something that drives me crazy too. Before I end this and close this out. The fact that I can see other cultures get together and stay in a house, get in a car, and make the bills work and pay the rent and still be able to go on vacation and still be happy with life. Why the rest of us can't get it together? Why the rest of us can't simply just say, hey, let's make this work. Let's not. And I'm going to be clear because I feel like a lot of people do this. And there's some people out there in that world. They let you move in with them and they rent is. Now, because this happened to me before. Twice. Maybe more than twice. I don't know. But everybody has gone through this where they're paying somebody else's bills. And it's not fair unless you understand why it is what it is. Now, for me, I don't mind helping people. But once I start feeling the feeling of being used, then it's like, all right, now what going on? Or if I notice other people ain't doing what I'm doing, I'm like, all right. Because when I stayed with my dad, I used to realize some things, and I'm like, Billy Bob Bogene over here ain't doing it. So why the hell am I doing? But I'm not everybody else. I'm my own person. If I would have stayed on the track of being responsible, I feel like life would have been better for me. Not saying life isn't better for me now, but life was a little bit hard because I made decisions in life because I thought I was noticing things when I should have just brought it to the table. Just like everything I have said today in this podcast. And if you're watching on YouTube, thank you for supporting me. And if you want to put a face to the voice and you're on Anchor, go over to YouTube, subscribe, and you can watch the video. And you never know, I might be on other platforms soon. Right now, I do not have no kind of social media, but if this turns out great, we can definitely make something happen because I love y'all just like y'all love me. I hope that we can all continue to talk about more. It'll be a little bit more organized on the next video in the next podcast because today I just wanted to introduce my new podcast and just talk about life and everything that I have been. I done stuck my finger in my mouth. But everything that I have been through because I feel like sometimes you gotta talk to get it all off your chest. And this has helped me. This was a therapy moment, and I guess this is something like a letter to myself by talking to other people about it. And when I say I'm talking to other people, which is you guys, my audience, about life and just getting things off my chest and being okay with who I am as a person, because I know I'm okay with who I am as a person. I got so excited. I kissed the microphone. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about life and understand what's going on. And I wanted everybody else to understand, hey, you aren't the only person that's going through it, and you can overcome anything that's in front of you, no matter what. If it's decorating, finding a job, getting assistance, you will overcome it. Just learn to set boundaries and not build walls, and also just learn to talk. And if you need to talk, you don't have to just talk to your parents. You don't have to just talk to your sister. You don't have to just talk to your brother. There's other people out there that you could talk to. Because let me tell you something. You could go volunteer at a retirement facility or an old people home and just talk to them. Because they want people to talk to just like we want people to talk to. You could volunteer at a daycare or after school program. Hey, kids listen. They may be brutally honest, but kids listen. You can talk to anybody. If you're on a bus and you just, hey, how you doing? Are you doing okay? You can talk. So just let's all realize that it's okay to talk, and life is hard and life can be a bitch sometimes, but we can make it a change. Well, we can make it. We can all change life, and we can come together versus being apart, and we can make it better. But I want to end this lovely podcast, which is just chat with a twist, on a great note, and just let everybody know that I love you. If you're on YouTube, subscribe, like, comment, turn them post notifications on. And if you're on Anchor, subscribe. And if you want to put if you want to put a face to this voice, the link will be in the description, and you can go subscribe to my YouTube and support me there as well. But as I always say in my other regular smegular videos, thank you for tuning in, and I love you guys, and I hope you have a great day. And if you're watching this, have a great Monday.